Suppose this is pretty historic, isn't it? That you have boys from South BJ, you have the girls from the convent here, the sisters are here. Anyone else from anywhere else? From Catholic High School? No? Oh, you got lots, huh? Well, welcome. So, where else, some more? Yeah? And I'm told that here present is a contingent of non-Catholic students, those who are, well, desperate to pass the exams. Right. Today we are celebrating Saint Bernard. The presence of the sisters here, all right, may be linked, as it were, to the great Saint Bernard. Now, who is Saint Bernard? Well, Saint Bernard, you see, all of us go through life in a cyclical manner, okay? Some days you feel good, some days you don't feel good. Got or not? Right? Some days you feel good, some days you don't feel good. So too life, you know, the country may be at its height. In 1996, 1997, this country was on top of the world. 1997, what happened to us? We crashed. Right? The whole economy just went tumbling down. 1998, Anwar was kicked out. This is not political, it's just to show you the cycle that we are going through. And so the country just went down. Alright? So too in civilization. You know that civilizations come and civilizations go. Isn't it? And as it were, you have here a man called Benedict. Pope is named after Benedict. Benedict was a great man. And at the time when the Roman Empire was crumbling, Benedict, all right, together with his monks, became what you call the light of a crumbling empire. They founded monasteries, right? They founded monasteries. Monasteries were places where people studied. They were places where manuscripts were copied, as it were. Sometimes, you know, manuscripts are copied. You can actually trace where the mistake they made in a manuscript to where it came from. So anyway, the monasteries grew. St. Benedict was very successful. All the Benedictine monasteries grew. They grew very large. And as in every society that grows large, right, even here, when we grow bigger, we go through cycles in life. The monks became lazy. They became worldly. And when they became worldly, they began to take in the spirits of the world, not those hantu spirit. We're talking about whatever happens outside the world, they also adopted. And so with the entrance of the spirit into the monastery went on a decline. And so this is where Bernard came. Bernard, all right, was a reformer. He realized that certain things in the monasteries should never be. And that was how he, together with some of his relatives and some of the monks together with him, all right, began a new movement within the family called the Benedictines. So, what has the sisters to do with that? Well, the Catholic Church has been in the forefront of education. All right? Catholic Church has been in the forefront of education. And today you are here in this great school, and the presence of the sisters is an attestation, is witness to the fact that the Catholic Church has always been in the forefront of education. All right? And many of our leaders of this country have been educated by the Catholic Church, whether we want to admit it or not. And this school has a great name. Why? Because the sisters were here. And they carry on the tradition of the church in terms of bringing education into the world. Now, you are here for an exam, for Mass, because you have exams coming. Unfortunately, for so many of us, all right, exams are a curse, no? Right? Exams are a curse. They're disgusting, they're stupid, the teachers or whatever. You want to say lah. But the reality is there's no other way but through exams. There are no other ways. Of course, our education system in this country has taken a particular shape It has taken on a particular shape so that your minds cannot be too inquiring. You cannot ask very pointed questions. You're not supposed to do many things. So there is a stupefaction in the country. Alright? You are being taught to be stupid in one way. Fair enough. But the fact is just that exams are necessary evil. Why? Because there's no other way to test what you know except through exams. You cannot. One of the difficulties that we all experience today is feeling. Yeah. You all got feelings or not? Tell me that you don't have. But the fact is that many of us base our judgment of right and wrong on feeling. Correct or not? If it feels good, then it must be right. If it feels lousy, then it must be wrong. But the fact is that exams don't belong to feelings. Whether you like it or not, it's that. Whether you like it or not, it's that. Alright? Just as you entered here today, all of you were seated down. You were but the fact is just that you're entering into a space where it is God's space. And if you're entering into a space which is God's space, different setting takes place. Just like if you come to school, can you wear pajamas to school or not? You're not. You're entering into a space which is a different space. There is a line that we draw between what is my feelings, what I feel, how I like, what I don't like, from another place which is, which is more objective, as it were. You all come in your own uniform, you all have your name emblazoned over here, So there's a clear, distinct line. And this distinct line is important. Alright? It is important because in this country, there are no more distinct lines. At your level, for you, most of the time, your criterion of right, or your criteria for right or wrong, is based on your feelings. Okay, but right and wrong is not, it's quite independent of how you feel. Your mother may be very sick, she feels like at the bottom of the dung heap, but when she makes breakfast for you, her feeling doesn't come into play. Even though she doesn't feel like it, she makes breakfast for you. You see or not? There are certain spheres in our life in which it's out there, it's independent of my feeling. Why am I bringing this up? Well, you're going to sit for exams. Once you go for exams, you pass your exam, fail your exam, whatever it is, then you go on in life, and then you graduate from university, and you're going to find yourself in a public place. In this country, most politicians think that the wealth of the country belongs to them. See or not? It doesn't have to, you think that politicians are corrupt and stuff like that, but it starts off at school already. Already you are being, in your own self already, you don't think that certain things are there and what is, my private things are my private things. What is public is public. There has to be a line there somewhere. And the sooner you learn that line in school, the better it is. The mic goes on and on. The better it is for you, because when you're going out, you're going to go into a public sphere. It doesn't take much for you to be corrupt. There's a special branch here. You look at it. It's all right. This is not a commentary on your school, but like everything else in Malaysia, it breaks down. My parish also breaks down, so it's not about your school. It doesn't take much we always think that the politicians out there are corrupt, but we belong to the same system. We belong to the same system, alright? So when we join them, very soon we will be like them. And the only way to not to be like that is here in your school already, you begin to set for yourself certain standards.